Okay, it's happened. I've started to miss the United States of America.
What do you guys think about America?
You guys are so hospitable.
Yeah, so welcoming and you're so good and so nice.
Oh my God, we made it live. We're inside a yellow bus in America. Yes, come on.
Open.
You're lying. You're lying, it's a Costco.
I like America.
I've never had any breakfast better than this in my life.
Let me grab your refund.
Oh no, I didn't order one.
Oh, they're free.
What do you mean free? Nothing's free.
Here they are.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Cub's not the only thing we're taking home. Taking all this ranch home with me as well. Just discovered it. Ranch is my new favourite thing.
I like cheeseburgers now. I want cheeseburgers and I want chicken wings and I want ranch. We don't have ranch here.
Bro, what are you doing? We're gonna get caught.
Excuse me, sir. You don't have any firearms, sharp objects, or ranch in the bag. Is that correct?
Come on, Jake. It's not worth it, man.
What you do? Suspect is...
Not the ranch sauce, please. We don't have the sauce at home and it's really good.
Two phrases are flooding social media right now. I'm sorry, America. And I had no idea. Not from politicians, not from tourism boards, from ordinary Europeans, camera shaking in their own hands, admitting on camera that everything they believed was wrong. For decades, the story was simple. America is loud, unfriendly, and falling apart. But when thousands of Europeans landed for World Cup 2026, something happened that no headline predicted. They didn't find a country in decline. They found strangers who wouldn't stop being kind to them. This isn't a video about football, it's a video about what happens when you finally put the phone down and knock on a stranger's door. For years, the story out of European newsrooms stayed consistent. America was a crumbling empire, a post-apocalyptic strip mall wasteland, as one viral tweet called it. Cold, transactional. Every smile a sales pitch, every "how are you" a scripted line from a customer service manual. European media painted a country of gated communities and unspoken hostility, a place you visit for the landmarks and endure for the people. Algorithm-driven outlets fed that story on repeat because fear travels faster than nuance. So when thousands of European fans booked flights for the World Cup, most of them packed more than luggage. They packed dread. I genuinely thought people would just ignore me, one French traveller admitted before he ever left home. Back home, everyone said, "Don't expect kindness, expect a transaction," said a Dutch backpacker, half laughing, half serious. They landed with their guard up, expecting a country that didn't care if they existed. At the arrivals gate, the headlines had promised cold indifference. What greeted these travellers instead stopped them in their tracks. And the gap between the two is what this whole video is really about. Within hours, not days, the same tourists who packed dread were posting videos with their hands over their mouths. A gate agent in Atlanta walked a stranded German family 2 terminals over, past his own break time, just to make sure they didn't miss their connection. A diner waitress in Nashville remembered a British couple's coffee order on day 2 and had it waiting before they sat down on day 3. She just remembered. "Nobody remembers me at home, mate." "Nobody," one of them said, visibly rattled. In Kansas City, a bartender quietly picked up the tab for 4 strangers at his counter in a single night. Not one favour, 4 before anyone had even ordered dessert. Compare that to the version of hospitality most Europeans grow up with. Polite, correct and closed off. A nod instead of a conversation. In London or Paris, a stranger helping you home counts as a small miracle worth telling your friends about for a week. In small-town America, it's Tuesday. Back home, if your car breaks down, you wait for the tow truck and you wait alone, one Spanish tourist said. Here, 3 cars stopped in 4 minutes. 4 minutes! This isn't customer service. It's a culture where warmth is the default setting, not the exception. And the punchline nobody saw coming. Surveys of first-time visitors this summer kept turning up the same headline number. The vast majority said a total stranger did something for them, unprompted, within their first 48 hours on American soil. Would you rather get a polite, efficient nod from a stranger, or 4 strangers pulling over just to make sure you're okay? Has anyone here ever had a total stranger go out of their way for you abroad? Tell us in the comments, because the next pillar is where the unfriendly myth gets buried even deeper. Hospitality was just the warm-up. The sheer size of the place is where European minds start to short-circuit because nothing back home prepares you for it. A 26-lane stretch of interstate outside Houston isn't an exaggeration, it's Tuesday traffic. Stadiums built for World Cup matches swallow entire European town squares inside their parking lots alone. I stood at the edge of it and I couldn't see the other end. I genuinely could not see the other end, said one Belgian fan filming a stadium concourse that alone was bigger than his hometown's train station. Gas stations here don't have 4 pumps. They have 60, sometimes over 100, running 24 hours, never once running dry. In most of Europe, distance is measured in careful minutes between cramped, centuries-old streets. In America, distance is measured in hours, and nobody blinks. You said it was a 4-hour drive to the next city like that was normal. 4 hours. That's Amsterdam to Berlin, bro, one Irish tourist said, laughing in disbelief. It's the paradox. A continent raised on efficient, compact, walkable, discovering a country built entirely around vast, open, and somehow it still works. Quick gut check. Would you rather live somewhere you can walk everywhere or somewhere with so much room the highways need their own lane count? Ever stood next to something in America and just felt small? Drop it below. The old belief was that American food is cheap junk. The new reality is portions and flavor on a scale that flatly reprograms the brain, and that gap is what actually breaks people. A plate of barbecue ribs in Texas arrives looking less like a meal and more like an event. A milkshake in a diner comes in a glass the size of a small vase with the metal mixing tin left beside it still half full. I ordered 1 burger. 1. They brought out, I don't even know what this is. Is this a burger or a building? One Italian visitor said, mid-laugh, mid-disbelief. Refills in most cases are free, not 1 refill. Unlimited. Back home, a coffee refill can cost as much as the first cup, and portion sizes are designed around restraint, not abundance. Here, abundance is the entire philosophy. In France, you pay for every single thing separately, down to the bread. Here, the guy just kept coming back with more fries and never once asked for money, said one French tourist, clearly stunned. And the punchline stat that keeps circulating in the comment sections, the average diner, stack, pancakes, eggs, bacon, toast, reportedly weighs in around a full kilogram of food for the price of a mid-range coffee back home. So, pay for every refill or never see a bill for one again. Ever finished an American-sized portion in one sitting? Be honest, tell us below, because next up, daily life itself starts to feel like cheating. What's the next paradox? After warmth and scale, speed. The sheer convenience of ordinary American life is where a lot of these apology videos actually begin. Drive-through pharmacies, drive-through banks, a coffee order placed from an app that's ready before you've parked the car. 24-hour supermarkets that never once put up a closed sign, not on Sundays, not on holidays. I needed medicine at 11 at night and there was a pharmacy open. Open at 11. On a Sunday, said one German traveller still confused by the concept days later. In most of Europe, Sunday closures are sacred and convenience often takes a back seat to tradition. In America, convenience is the tradition. Back home, if you forget something on a Sunday, that's it. You wait until Monday. Here, I just drove 5 minutes and it was open, said one Austrian visitor. The comparison writes itself. A continent built around rest days versus a country built around never making you wait. Which do you want more? Guaranteed rest days built into the culture, or a country that's simply always open when you need it? Ever been thrown off by something being open when it had no business being open? Drop your story, because the next pillar is the one that shatters the biggest myth of all. No belief in the old narrative ran deeper than danger. The idea that American streets are something to survive rather than enjoy. And that's exactly the belief these travellers say collapsed the fastest. Walking home from stadiums at midnight, families letting kids run ahead on boardwalks, local police posing for photos, cracking jokes, waving fans through with a grin instead of a glare. I was told to be careful every single day before I left. Every day. And I felt safer here at 1 a.m. than I do walking home in my own city, one Scottish fan admitted, almost sheepishly. Here's the contrast nobody expected. Cramped, anxious headlines about American danger versus wide-open small towns, where neighbours leave doors unlocked and porch lights on for strangers. My mom made me promise to text her every hour. I stopped after day 2 because nothing ever happened. Nothing. It was just fine, said one Norwegian visitor. And here's the punchline fueling half the apology videos online right now. Several travellers said the scariest thing that happened to them all trip was a raccoon going through the trash. Pick one. A reputation for danger that isn't true, or a reputation for boredom that turns out to be safety. Ever felt safer somewhere than the headlines told you to expect? Say it in the comments. There's one more stop left, and it might be the strangest of all. Every myth needs a final, undeniable monument to destroy it. And for this summer's wave of converts, that monument is a gas station. Not a museum, not a skyscraper. A Texas travel stop the size of an airport terminal, with over 100 fuel pumps, a wall of fudge flavors, and bathrooms so absurdly clean that tourists film them out of genuine disbelief. Call it the Eiffel Tower of the American road trip. A forgotten Atlantis hiding in plain sight off a random highway exit. I have been to the Louvre. I have been to the Colosseum. Nothing prepared me for this bathroom, one British tourist said, laughing so hard he could barely finish the sentence. In Europe, a rest stop is a necessity you endure. Grim lighting, a vending machine, maybe a bored cashier. Here, it's a destination in its own right, a place families plan detours just to visit. We drove 40 minutes out of our way for a gas station, and I would do it again tomorrow, said one Portuguese visitor still holding a bag of branded souvenirs. It's the final blow to the old narrative, a country so absurdly generous with scale and care that even its pit stops become main characters. Last one. A rest stop you tolerate or one you detour 40 minutes for. Ever found an iconic landmark abroad that had no business being that impressive? That's the last comment prompt, because now it's time to talk about who built the old story in the first place. So, who's been selling the world a version of America that doesn't match what thousands of these travellers just experience firsthand? Not one villain, not one network, a whole engagement machine. Outrage performs better than warmth. Fear gets more clicks than a stranger paying for your coffee. Old broadcast narratives were built for ratings, not accuracy, and division simply travels faster than nuance ever could. What's replacing it isn't another news cycle. It's unfiltered footage shot on shaking phones from real tourists with nothing to sell and no segment producer telling them what angle to take. As one traveller put it, in a line that's now stitched across half these videos, if you want to fear America, read the headlines. If you want to love it, knock on a stranger's door. And that's the emotional core of this entire wave. An apology tour nobody organised, just thousands of individual people independently posting some version of, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," because the gap between what they were told and what they lived through was simply too wide to ignore. Zoom out far enough, and this was never really a video about America. It's a video about how we consume reality itself. Secondhand, pre-edited, built for outrage instead of accuracy. Every pillar in this story connects into the same loop. Space creates room for infrastructure. Infrastructure creates room for abundance. Abundance creates room for generosity, and generosity is what turns a stranger into a friend within 48 hours. This place isn't perfect. Traffic is real, prices climb, not every town looks like a postcard. But perfection was never the claim. The claim was that the old story lied about the people, and thousands of first-hand accounts this summer say otherwise. So here's the real question. This video is actually asking, are you going to keep being a passive audience for someone else's edited version of the world, or are you going to be the main character of your own trip, your own story, your own eyes? If this pulled the rug out from under something you thought you knew, that reaction is worth more to this channel than any subscribe button. So say it in the comments, argue with a stranger about it, tag someone who still believes the old headline. Drop one word below. Were you surprised, or did you already know? And for the required fine print, this video is a narrative compilation inspired by publicly shared traveller reactions and general trends. Individual experiences vary, and it does not represent the political views, official position, or endorsement of any organisation, network, or government.